Greetings everyone. My name is Pai, and along with my colleagues Wanjoo and Professor Mohamad, we would like to present you our paper. We are from Applied Interactive Multimedia Laboratory from New York University in Abu Dhabi. And the paper is titled Self-Controlled Continuous Brushing with Vibrotactile Feedback Enhances the Rubber Hand Illusion in Virtual Reality. Alright, so let's start by talking about what is the rubber hand illusion. So you might have seen some videos on social media that there are some experiment that you will have the rubber hand and you place it next to the hands of the person, and the experimenter will brush with the brush at the same speed. And suddenly out of nowhere, the experimenter will hit the rubber hand with a hammer, and the participant will withdraw their hand thinking that their rubber hand is their real hand. So this particular phenomenon is called the embodiment, and we are trying to study that effect and some other factors for the rubber hand illusion in virtual reality. So now we are trying to study the rubber hand illusion in virtual reality, and traditionally we use the video projectors to create this illusion, but in the modern virtual reality we can use the head-mounted displays like the Oculus Quest 3, which we use in our experiment. So if you really want to induce the virtual reality in a virtual reality rubber hand illusion, you need to fulfill some conditions in accordance with the literature. The first is you need the simulation to be in the first person. So your hands, you should be able to see them. And when you create the 3D models, they have to be a realistic visual representation, so no cartoony hands, otherwise it will not work. And additionally, it is much better if you have the sensory feedback, such as the haptics. So we integrated all of them, and we set up a virtual reality-based rubber hand illusion experiment, like this picture in the lab. So what we have is a laptop running our VR simulation of our IHI, made in Unity 3D, and we also created a small haptic sleeve with 5 vibration motors, which when the participant interacts with the brush to their hand, they can see and they can feel what is happening. So while we're doing this, we are trying to answer 2 key research questions. The first question is, can we reliably induce the vibrotactile feedback in the rubber hand illusion? And the second question is, if we can create a truly immersive rubber hand illusion in VR, then what kind of brushing, which mode of brushing is the most effective? We are studying 2 dimensions, the self-touch and the touch by others, and the continuous and discrete. So we set up our study with 85 participants in 5 groups with everything controlled, and the entire duration of stimulation, brushing is kept constant at 45 seconds. And we also control the brushing speed at 2.5 centimeters per second. All of these values are taken from existing literature. So here are our experimental conditions. There are 4 main conditions. So mainly there is a touch by other and touch by yourself. So in the touch by other, you will have the other hand coming to brush you, and in the self-touch condition, you are the one who's touching yourself. And also there's another dimension of continuous and discrete. So in the continuous, the way you brush is that you do not lift your brush up. From the start until the end, you keep touching your hand with the brush. And also, but in the discrete, what you do is you lift your brush up so that you only touch the particular places in your hand. Of course, there's also the control group, which we use for the comparison. And for the measurement, we are studying 2 types of measurement, the objective and the subjective. For objective, we are doing the proprioceptive drift. So we cover the hands of the person before and after the stimulation, and we give them a chest piece, and we tell them to place it on where they think the position of the finger is. For example, like the thumb, the index finger, and so on, and the wrist, and so on. And we calculate the average error before and after the stimulation. And also for the subjective measurement, we are asking the questionnaires on a 7-point scale, and we ask questions about the body ownership, agency, and the locations. So the idea is that the higher you score in these questionnaires, the more immersive the VR is. And did we find out anything from this experiment? Yes, we do. So let me take back you to the key questions we did. So the first question is that can we reliably induce the rubber hand illusion in virtual reality? The answer is yes. Because if you look at our, and also by the way, these numbers are the average of the questionnaire score, which we gave previously. So if you look at the other, so if you look at the stimulation cases, we can see that this is a very statistically significant increase in the score, so that we know the rubber hand illusion is taking place. So if the answer is yes, what type of brushing is the most effective and the most immersive? We found from this box and whisker plot that the self-continuous is the most immersive in virtual reality. So these are the results, but why is that? So we try to explain, and there are some particular hypotheses we came up with, mainly on the self-continuous touch. So the soft part, what we think this happens is that when you are brushing yourself, you are the person who is giving the input, and also you are the person who is getting the haptic feedback. So this creates a closed loop, and we think this closed loop, the patient-casual inference, is what makes it very immersive. And also the continuous touch is more effective because when you do not lift the brush up, it gives you a prolonged touch duration, and that makes it more immersive. So in short, when you combine this agency with continuous feedback, it gives you the strongest embodiment. We can use this application in the VR rehab, brain-computer interfaces, BCI, gaming, and training software. But of course, like every study, the study is not perfect. We have some limitations. So although we recruited 85 participants, if you look at the group number, there's only 17 participants per group, which is small. We only recruited young people, and also the thing is we have to use a subjective measurement because objective measurement did not give a statistically significant result. But this is quite expected because from the existing literature, there's no causal link between the hand position and the effect of the body ownership. So meaning that in VR, the objective ownership is not very reliable. So as a future direction, we are planning to use a more larger diverse population group, and also we plan to conduct more clinical studies. But since the objective measurement did not work previously, we can try the other form of the metrics, such as the neurophysiological metrics, such as EEG. So to make a conclusion of everything, our paper suggests that we can reliably induce a rubber hand illusion, and the best way to induce it is by the self-continuous touch. So if you want a one-sentence summary, the agency plus continuity plus closed-loop feedback is how you get the optimal body ownership in virtual reality. Thank you very much, and questions are welcome.
Thank you very much. So now we are on the floor. So if you have any question, please use the microphone. Okay, so I have one question.
Yes, please.
So maybe that is about your future plan. So now, one of your future plan is to use neurophysiological metrics such as EEG.
Yeah.
So I just curious how you use what kind of parameter you are really can apply by using EEG for this.
So what happened is currently this is in the planning phase, so we have not conducted yet. But in our lab, the way we do the other EEG experiment is that we create a control condition, so with no brush, and we scan the brain wave, the brain signals, and then we do the conditions, and we try to compare and contrast the EEG brainwave signals, and the difference is what is likely to be the cause of this difference in the immersion. That's generally the way we do, and we plan to follow more or less the same path.
Any other question? So I have one more question. So
yes, please.
I understand rubber hand illusion is about the illusion of rubber hand. So for virtual reality setup, sometimes we also maybe acquire some sense of ownership of our virtual leg or virtual body or virtual head or some other thing. So do you have any idea to expand your knowledge to some other body to upgrade or to improve sense of presence or sense of ownership in virtual reality?
Yes, we do have a plan to expand. So the ideal project for the lab is to have the entire full body avatar. But the reason why we choose the rubber hand is because one, it's a well-known effect, and two, the current state of the headset is that you can have the reliable hand tracking, but you do not have the reliable full body tracking yet. So we started with what we can.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much.
You have a question? Okay, thank you very much.
Great, so I invite the third speaker.